Hi guys, I'm Russ and this is Ramon, and today we are going to show you how to replace the end caps on your ESB tanning bed. Now what we've done first off is we put a board here in between between the canopy and the bench metal rails, because first we'll need to remove this shock and then remove this arm so we have complete access to the hardware. Now when we do that, the canopy is going to want to drop. Now also when we remove the end cap, because of the curve to the bed, it's going to want to straighten out once you remove the end cap completely. So I recommend having a helper to basically squeeze the rails together and help you line the holes back up when you go to put the hardware back in. Now if you don't have a helper, you could use a ratchet strap and go around the frame of the bed, whether it be the bench down here or go around the frame if it's in the canopy around here to help, again, just to keep that distance. So to start, what we're going to do is open the canopy all the way, and I'm going to release the shock. There we go. So then I'm going to actually pull the shock off of the bench as well. Now go ahead and carefully set it down. Okay, so of course be careful when you're setting the canopy down, because without the shock here, the rails could actually slam all the way. Of course, and make sure your board is long enough to go in between both of the front and rear rails. So I'm going to remove the bolt and the arm that goes into the canopy. And then now I'm going to pull the bolt out of the arm that goes into the bench. And then now we have full access to all the hardware of the end caps. The difference between the canopy and the bench is in that you have 3 support rails in the bench and there's only 1 in the very center of the canopy. Other than that, it's the same. Here, going into the side rails, you have number 8 screws. And here, going into the support rails, they are number 10 screws. So we'll start out first by replacing the canopy end cap. So I'm going to, with a cordless screwdriver and a Phillips, we won't need to worry about that just yet. When we go to put it back on, we will. But I'm just going to go ahead and pull out these screws, and I'm going to also pay attention, like I said, where these number 8 screws that go into the side rails are going to be thinner than this one here. We can see the bed straightening out already. Ramon's going to hold it in place for me while I just continue to pull the hardware out. Thick screw in the center. Okay, so now the end cap is free. And Ramon is holding it. You can see if we let it go, it will straighten out. So this is where you want to be careful. And what's very important when you reinstall the hardware is to observe where these threaded holes are in the rails, and that it lines up again in the center support and in the side rails here. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to start at one end here in one of the holes. At the top here is where I will start. I'm just going to get it just a few threads in there. That's enough. Now I'm going to go to the opposite side and do the same one on the top, and then that's going to help so Ramon doesn't have to work so hard. Now I'm going to do the lower rail screws. Okay, looks good. He's got it lined up for me just right. Okay, this one has to come in a little more. If you can, yep, if you can, there you go. Okay, so I'm looking in here, and I can see that he's got it lined up right there already for me. If your partner doesn't have it lined up, then you might have to tell him to squeeze it a little more or a little less. Now it should be held in place by itself. If you want to try to let it go, yep. So what I'm going to do now, when I go to tighten this the rest of the way, I'm going to feel here and see where the acrylic is to make sure that it's going into the channel that's on the lower part of the end cap here. It feels good, so I'm going to tighten it all down the rest of the way. Right here in the center. I'm going to close it a little first. There we go. Okay, so the cover came out a little bit, which is okay. It's out of the corner back here, so I'm just going to pull it away from the edge a little and just get it right back into that channel there. And just pops back in nicely. Yep, like so. That's good. Okay, so then what we'll need to do is we'll need to put the arm back on. That's the inch-long Allen bolt that goes into the bench. Here's the 1.5 inch long bolt that goes into the canopy. Now, if you've replaced the end cap with a new one, you will need to take the ball stud from the old end cap and move it to the new end cap into this position right here, so it's right above the one that's in the bench. And then now you can take and put your shock on it, pop it onto your bench, and then to your canopy, and you're done.